everybody. It's Gwen from Proof of Africa. Today, we're going to continue our interview series with having Dor from IOG. How are you, Dor?
Hello there. How's it going?
So today, the idea is, and the chance for us to have you is to be able to talk a bit more about Catalyst and give an overview for the people who didn't have the chance or were not like aware enough to get in touch with it since August. So just to have like a brief explanation of what's the project, what's the idea behind it, and what you want to achieve with it.
Sure. Okay.
So perhaps just before to enter the matter, perhaps if you can just tell us a word about you briefly, like what's your background and when did you join IOG? You know, this kind of information. So
Yeah, love to. So, well, I'm currently the product manager for Catalyst and Voltaire in IOHK. Before that, I was working on. I was a product manager in DAO Stack, which is one of the pioneers of decentralized governance on the Ethereum blockchain. And even before that, I was basically a founder, CEO of several startups in the collaboration space. And this is what I did about my PhD. That's like been my passion, like my almost lifelong passion of exploring how we can collaborate better together in ways that are different from how we usually do things, let's say in hierarchical companies. Okay, and where's the potential there? That's actually my second career. My first career, I was actually a photographer. I had a photography studio in Tel Aviv. I did commercials and fashion and video productions and green screen and all that stuff. Work on lighting and work for magazines like Time Out and stuff. But that's like you know, in the past. That was like more than 10 years ago.
okay, so like, no, it's interesting. You know, like there is, and I think especially in our industry, there is also people who had like did things before, and like because of blockchains, you're like, well, there is something to do with this. Okay, so it's cool and it's interesting. I think also for some people who are interested in DAO and this kind of thing that know that you prior work for DAO Stack, I think it's pretty well known in the people who know a bit about DAO. So I think it's really interesting. It perfectly fits with what you're doing actually at Catalyst. So the first question would be like, and covering the whole thing is to explain a bit to people what is Project Catalyst. What is the idea behind what you want to achieve with it? Who can participate? You know, like all the kind of information, like a digest about what Project Catalyst is.
Sure. So let's start with what we're trying to solve. Okay, what's the big problem? Okay, or like the big problem, the big opportunity, the big problem / opportunity is that Cardano has a treasury system. Okay, and this treasury. Okay, so I mean, a good analogy you can think about it like if a government has a has a budget, right? Like a national budget that they allocate to develop the country, blah blah blah. It's like Cardano has the same. So we have this like pot of funds that are dedicated to grow the blockchain, to sustain it over time, and to keep that decision making decentralized. Okay, so there's not like a small group of people that are holding the keys to the treasury and make the calls, but you know, as we think about how would the system look in 20 years in the future, how would it look 50 years in the future. So we're creating like the DNA that would make it go and run and be truly autonomous and decentralized in the real sense of the word, not just on a technical sense, but on the human aspect of it. So then you have the big question, okay, how do we do that, right? Because we never did it before, not in the history. I don't think, you know, there was like a few small experiments in the history of mankind of like, how do we manage budgets, blah, blah, blah. But the system tend to quickly converge on like very centralized solutions. Exactly. You know, you end up with some committee small groups of experts who or politicians who make the shots, and we see it in every single country, right? Like, do you feel, do you feel empowered with how the budgets in your country are managed? Do you feel, hmm?
So.
Right. You have to, there's a big, there's a, it really goes back to how we as humans, we collaborate and organize, and what we know, and all the things that are left to discover. Okay, so that's the big question. How do we manage the treasury, not just to be impactful, okay, although that's in itself a huge issue. How do you use the money wisely, but also how to make it fair, right? That people have a voice, that it really represents the people, okay, who actually run the network, who actually use the network. And, I would even say, like, and how do we keep the system to keep evolving and improve over time and not get like stuck in time, okay? Like, everybody who's in French here in this audience will know what I'm talking about. About something that gets fossilized, and like just like changing anything in it is like impossible, or it just takes way more energy. So you're like, you know what? I'm just not gonna do that. That's the goal. How are we doing it? We experiment. Okay, we start with taking the background research work that our treasury team made to create a safe environment, okay, for experimentation. Like, so basically, like to prototype a governance that can't be captured by outside people. That, like, you can't have like suddenly someone buy 1 billion ADA and like influence the elections,
Take over the power.
Take over, or coerce someone, or bribe someone. Okay, so they took all this principle of game theory to design the system from the ground up to be safe, okay, to be stable and safe. Let's start with that. So just creating us this foundation to experiment on. Okay, then we have this aspect of livelihood. Okay, that this environment, it not just needs to be safe, it also needs to be alive. It needs to feel full of energy and creativity, and just show all the things we can do together, right? Because again, Cardano has tens of thousands of people. We're all invested. We're all ADA holders. We all have skin in the game. We all want the same thing. We want the system to thrive and succeed. What's the magic to get everybody to shift their mindset, okay, from being, let's say, like a speculator or a passive observer, like maybe someone that's on the Telegram and chats, or like, maybe criticizes, to a creator, to someone who just like generates new ideas and gets funding and builds things and collaborates with other people and takes the time to really think about these ideas that are being proposed and votes and influences. Like, that's what we want, right? It's livelihood.
I think it's really important what you say, because actually for I think the past years, like, people were mixing blockchain and crypto, like for all of them, it was like kind of money, and you can make investment and stuff. But now, and I think it's one of the things you are achieving with Catalyst, like, you make people understand, if you have ideas, you can propose it to the community, even if you don't have all the skills and stuff, but you can show it to the community, and then you can gather a team and gather people who have like the skills you miss or something like this. And it's actually, you feel like you can contribute to something. It's not just an investment.
Exactly. We basically took, just to get started. I mean, the truth is it's like a giant problem. Nobody knows what's the solution. Okay. If someone tells you how this is going, what's going to succeed, he doesn't know what he's talking about, because we never did it before. We don't know yet. But what we did is we curated and we collected some of the best techniques and methodologies and lessons learned from the past, whether it's academic research or things that work in existing crowdsourcing systems, or how to generate that. Okay, so This is why we partnered with a company like Descale to run an innovation process using their software, because they did crowd ideation, crowdsourcing hundreds of times, and and they already learned all the lessons. And so we pick and choose, and we take the favorite things that work. Whether it's like methodologies about how to create a proposal, or like how can we do reviewing in a fun, creative way, and then we launch it. We test it with all the participants of Catalyst. Some things work out, some things we see like energize people and excite people, and we're getting outcomes and results. Some things maybe too confusing or too hard, or they didn't make sense in the context of the Cardano community. And then we trash them and we try something else. But every 6 weeks, we try, we launch, we grow the things that work well, we get rid of the things that don't go well. We check in with the community. We keep looking at our metrics and results and adoption to make sure we're on the right way. And it's too soon to tell if it works or not, right? Because we only got the first cohort of proposers funded just a few months ago. So we're kind of tracking that and seeing how they're progressing. Looks very promising, but but we're measuring and we're seeing.
But I think it's really important what you say, because I think there is like also in the people who are joining Catalyst or heard about it, there is two different people. There is people who just join now because they see it's running. There is actually projects that have been funded, so like they are also interested by the fact that there is actually something to win, and also the people who were here from the beginning. And there's people in the middle, and they don't necessarily understand that, as you say, and I think it's really important about this project, is like it's a living thing. So it's like not everything's perfect, that's for sure, but like it's an iteration. So like, as you say, like some stuff works well, okay, we keep it and we continue to build on it. The thing that works less, but it's important to know that it's a living thing. That's also why you guys, I think, need also more people to join, to give feedbacks, to participate, to give ideas. It's not only about submitting a proposal, it's also contributing to the Catalyst project in general.
Yeah, and the only thing I can say to people, it gets better over time. Okay, people who, when we first started in Fund 0 and Fund 1, it was like really confusing. It was like really hard. It was way harder than now, way more complicated. Like way more things were not working, but then we learn and we evolve. Now we're in the stage where everybody from their Daedalus wallet can just register to vote. Like one fund before, it took 4 hours to do so. So we're moving at a really fast pace. We moved from 50 people to 2,000 people to 10,000 people. Who knows what's next, in terms of adoption, but, probably 100,000 people. It's like, but we're growing and we're learning, and there's the various ways, like the key is that there's different ways to play this game. Okay, so you can come and you can say, oh my God, I love this vision, I want to contribute, I'm all in, I want to contribute the best I can, and like give it all. And then you go to the town halls, you go to the depths of Catalyst, right? You go to the Telegram channels, you go to our Discord server where there's like hundreds of people like teaming up and pitching to devs and building stuff together. And you can do that, okay? And the people who do that are the leadership layer, are the early adopters, and we're just getting started. So it's actually, this is the time to join and be like, do that and be fully committed. And these people come and they also evolve the processes we're using and like how we do reviews. So these are like the backbone of the system, okay? But of course, like, some people are, have other things going in their lives. Okay, maybe maybe they can't be full-time engaged, or maybe they don't have time to do all this stuff. This is why there's like very specific things that people can do to contribute, and that's like the magic of the system, right? That's like, unlike a company, like everybody in full-time work, You can come and give an hour to not only give value to the system, like not only promote Cardano and help with your own intelligence and your skills, but also get rewarded for it with ADA, for your contribution for it. So I'll give a few examples, okay? So first, being a proposer, okay? You come and you write an idea and you submit it and you go into this process. You don't need to worry about anything else. You know, you can write your proposal, write the guidelines how to submit it, but then you're like in a pipeline where you're starting to get feedback from the community. People in the community come and comment on your proposal and giving you advice and tips and insights and help you improve. Then you have people who will reach out to you and you can reach out to them to join forces and collaborate. Then you will have advisors, community advisors who will come and actually give you a much more detailed assessment of your project and how it fits with the general challenge that we've posted. So you're gonna get all this feedback, and you know, I can't guarantee you that you're gonna get funding immediately. It's a learning curve. It might take every 6 weeks, there's a new funding round. And what we encourage people is just like jump into the process, start to get into the cycle where you get feedback and you learn and you meet people and you know, you get catalyzed. Okay, that's the thing. And when the time is right, you're gonna receive the funding. Don't worry. Okay, like people are serious and work hard to it. So that's one thing. Okay, the proposer, and this you can make a full-time living from it. You can actually be rich from it. It's not if you have the right skill set and the right motivation. Then you have implementers. So you don't have to run the campaign. You don't have to make a proposal. You just need to identify good proposals and just offer to join them as implementers. Okay, you're a developer. You saw a proposal that excites you. You want to pitch in, you know, message the proposing team. You know, part of the funding they will get can be allocated for you to implement it. So if you have also dreamed of building on Cardano, now you have the opportunity. And you don't need to worry about anything else, okay? Then you have the advisor, community advisor. So actually what you care about is the quality of the decision-making that we're doing. So, you know, we will give you guidelines and we will give you training and we'll give you a support group of people that will share with you the best practices of how they do it. And then you can go and choose proposals that you feel like you're fit. You know, you have the type of background that makes you a good assessor for them, and you assess them. And, you know, we have I'm not going into the details, but we have like a way to reward these people. Right now it's kind of like a lottery system. Like, you know, like if you have like 5 reviews on a proposal, then 3 out of the 5 would get funded, and there will be like a lottery who gets funding. But if you submit enough reviews and participate, you increase your chances of winning a reward. But we're gonna transition to have it based on quality. So there will be some kind of a peer review of the reviews to find the best assessors, like the smartest people, the sharpest people, the people who like, and they will get more compensation. So and then you can just focus on that aspect, or you can focus on being a referrer in the system, which is basically you come and you attract people, new proposers to come. So maybe your neighbor or your family member or a colleague, you think you can contribute to the Cardano ecosystem, you convince them to come and make a proposal, the proposal gets funded, you win ADA. Okay, so all these amazing ways. The problem with people is like, that they sometimes try to do everything at once, that they try to advise and propose and implement it. This is too much. It's like in a company, like you would come and you say like, you know what, I want to be the CEO and the lead dev and the designer and, and also clean the hallways. No, you can't do everything. You need to pick the things that fit your skill sets and your motivation and your ambitions. And it's okay to explore. That's the beautiful, you can try out things.
Exactly.
One fund you can try be an advisor, next fund you can try be a proposer. In the end, let's go like 5 iterations in the future. Where are you?
Yeah.
You know yourself better. You tried several things. You saw what works for you, what motivates you. If you were a good actor in the system, like if you gave people constructive feedback and was like a decent human, you will have reputation in the system, and it will be much easier for you to find the collaborations that you need and create more value and be more, and be more compensated, and also do more interesting things. Like that's why we're having these 10,000 people that are joining early when the process is still a bit hard, and because they know that this is where the value is. Like the early comers define how the party looks like for those who
Exactly.
join the party later.
And I think I actually I just would like to, because I think it's really old what you say is interesting, because it shows that actually Catalyst is not just a fund. Because I think in the head of a lot of people it's just like a pot of money, and you just apply and stuff. But you are describing an entire ecosystem, like with people with different kind of skills can join and can find a way somehow to be retributed, rewarded for what they're doing. Now, or at the beginning, it was mainly on a voluntarily basis because everybody's learning and we're training. But like as soon as the ecosystem is going to mature, people can actually, as you say, can make a living of it, because you can, if you have like a network guy, you can get in touch with different projects. You can like kind of create your network. If you have skills on something specific, you can become an advisor. And if you have ideas, you propose it. And if you're a developer and you have skills, you can say, oh, this is interesting, I could fit in this. So it's like creating really like an entire ecosystem, not just a fund, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest challenge in Catalyst. It's not, these are really complicated things, like the technology and the incentive system and the communication and the logistics. These are all like, each one of them is like a huge problem. But the biggest problem is the mindset, our mindset, because we grew up in a school, and then if you're in a French school, maybe your desk in your chair in your class was actually bolted to the floor, so you can't even move your chair, and you can't even move your desk. Like,
I was lucky enough it wasn't the case, but
what? Yeah, but when I did my PhD in Paris, and this was the situation. It's like, it's like systems from like 17th century, 18th century that's being preserved, and you sit in your class, and if you want to pee, you need to ask for permission from your teacher. And when you're in the kindergarten, you get a report card that assesses and tells you exactly what you're supposed to do. And we were tamed as humans to follow instructions, to follow the leader, to not be truly autonomous. And all our systems are built on top of that kind of conditioning. And this is like the only thing we know. And now we're trying something else, instead of like some grant system, like a government, like an RFP or like a research grant. You have a bunch of people sitting in a conference room, like, old professors, and they like make the decisions, and they tell you what to do, and everybody just tries to make them happy. That's not the story anymore. We outgrew it, but we're still trapped in our perception that this is what's going on. It's not. We have $250 million in the Catalyst Fund to try and do other things, to try to do it work in a different ways. So we come and we propose certain ways of working together, and we try to open your minds to what's possible. But the real expectation is that you would come and like evolve those systems and create your own systems based on that realizations, in a way, and because we monitor the outcomes and the success of those things, we have a evolutionary model. Fund 9, Fund 10 is going to be very different from how Fund 4 looks like. It will, if you're going to pick up the shovel and use your brain and start to lead and not wait for someone else to tell you what to do. Okay. So it's saying that, there is a balance, right? It's like you have to be, you also need to learn how to collaborate
Yeah,
and
exactly.
listen to other people and learn and be humble that we don't know everything.
And I think it's really important. Like if I can give like a little, so we propose a project in Fund 2, and so actually, so ABCD, it wasn't founded, but actually we learned a lot because we got like all these feedbacks from this really intelligent people who could say, okay, this this is interesting, this is a good idea, but you should dig a bit in this direction, or you should increase this and that. And so little by little you learn, and just this is super valuable in itself. And I think that, as you said, like it's a new way of creating things. It's like you just don't do something and you can actually easily show it to people and easily have access to people who can help you, which is like have no value for real. It's like incredible.
I agree. And it's like, it's just easy, funny to contemplate how all these systems that we grew up in are like a tunnel, right? It's like everybody's competing with everybody else. You submit something, if you ever was in any sort of application process, you submit and your submission is like secret. It's like somewhere and you just get the result, which is kind of like a harsh judgment on what you did. And it's like, doesn't give you that much to learn. And this is not like, we're here to create you the safe and lively environment for you to grow and to reach your highest potential. And we're serious about it. And it's not a short time game. We don't care about token price. It's great because it gives attention and it gives us more resources. It's great. But the real thing is like we're stepping in a journey that's like a multi-year journey where we are learning how to collaborate in this new way. And we're inventing ways to drive the most value out of it. That's what's going on.
Yeah, and I think it's really important what you just said about like the token price, because let's face the reality. There is a lot of people that still see it as like, oh, it's the 10x or 10 blah blah blah. But the thing is like what's super important for me, for a lot of people in the ecosystem, is like you just see that suddenly it's like, so there is still a bunch of developers, but for some people it's like black magic. And like suddenly you see in Catalyst there's people coming with ideas that people can understand. Oh, this can actually change something in my life. It's not just like, something I don't understand. And if you can show to the people that, okay, we are building things, it's not just code only anymore, it's like it's going to solve real problems, then people are going to switch, say, oh, okay, yeah, actually I can understand what it's and what I can benefit from it. And I think it's really important. So it's not only technical anymore, it's still super technical because you need people to code and being behind, but it's also like we're in this transition phase where people can actually see it, what it could be for in the real life. And I think it's really important as well.
Exactly. We have 7 challenges in Catalyst in Fund 4. One of them is purely technical, the developer ecosystem. It's really pretty technical, just like helping other developers. All the others are about adoption, like reaching end users and building utility for the network, not like just like optimizing the internals of the system. And some of them are even just go into like, how do we make better decision making, or how do we market Catalyst itself to attract more entrepreneurs to join the system? It's like there's something for everyone. I would say especially for like teachers and communicators, like we need you. Okay, like lots of there's more work and more problems to solve than resources. So don't worry, you will find your niche.
No, but actually it's really important because it means that, because you always have this thing of like, oh, it's Fund 4 already, I'm too late. No. There will be always room for people, and people have to understand that. So that's why it's really cool you said it. Like there is, you just said it, like there is more work to do than people in the thing now. So like just feel free to join.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should rename it and go back to zero again, just to avoid this perception, because it's the opposite. It's like, this is the optimal time to join. This is the best of times to join, because we're still, it's still like, it's still getting built, so you can really have a huge influence. And but but we stabilize the system, for example, that we do things in a regular fashion every 6 weeks. Like Fanto, we had delays, and we had unexpected technical mishaps, or like with registration, it's like it was really clanky. Now it's much more smooth, and you can actually focus not on all these stuff, but you can focus on your passion, how you can contribute, and not on the details. Although, yeah, it's still like lots to learn and lots to understand. But this is only if you want to get deep involvement. You don't have to. You can just also just focus and pick one thing and stick to that. I'm a very abstract person. I like to think about systems and blah blah blah, but you don't need to. You don't need to contribute here. You just need to have a good idea, or you need to have some the skills for decision making, or for implementing. That's fine.
Okay, so I think that actually it's good. Like now people know that they have no excuse not to join. There is room for everybody, and there is room for every kind of skill, which is important. Just a last thing really quickly, because you mentioned that you're working on Catalyst and on Voltaire, because like basically Catalyst, it's also like governance, like you're trying to, and so because for me at the beginning when I thought about Voltaire, it was like just governance of Cardano. So is it only this, or it's also like tools for creating DAO, for instance, or all this kind of thing?
So Voltaire has a lot of components. This is like the first one, and the scope of Catalyst is going to grow over time. So right now basically it's like the level of governance is so mind-blowing that even if we could, introducing all the elements at once would have been just way too much. Over time in this year, slowly and gradually, there's going to be other types of decisions that are going to be implemented in Catalyst, not just funding decisions, but there's going to be much more. We're going to increase the scope, and we're going to grow some technologies that are native to Shelley blockchain, going into the protocol layer, and also defining for the community how they want to be governed. Okay, that's like, I think ultimately that's like the big question. It's like Catalyst is an experiment. It's exciting, but it's like nobody said this is how we want to be governed yet. But it was an impossible question even to ask, because nobody know like how does it look like, how does it feel like, and so we're giving people an idea how a particular system looks like, and people are going to be way more, now that they know, it's like they're going to be way more informed. But we're going to start soon, in the next few months, we're going to start a discussion of like, is this how governance looks like in Cardano? Like, is this what you really want? Do you consent? Do you agree to this? And that's going to be a decision that we're going to be take on Catalyst. Okay, so we'll use Catalyst to validate Catalyst for sure. I think another type of decision is this, like posting the challenges. It's like a big decision. So it's all about emancipation, like us setting our intentions, defining the community, defining which challenges we prioritize and we want to solve. And not that it comes from this team in IOHK. And, and then you have all the other systems in Voltaire, like the CIP process that's managed by the Cardano Foundation. That's actually a really important base layer, okay, for any technical decisions. So all these are already like running and getting prototyped. So it's going to take a while for everything to mature, but the nice, what's the cool thing about it, although this is will take many years to get all these things correctly and safe and completely decentralized, but you're gonna experience how it looks like. So we're gonna run simulations and experiments with real consequences, right? There's real ADA on stake. So we're not just like have a perfect idea come out of our head that suddenly works and it's amazing because someone's a genius, but it's gonna be we try and learn and we see what works, and it will evolve with this feedback loop. And by the time that the technology and the decentralization catches up with the governance system, we have something that actually works for people and not just like a set of abstract concepts. So that's the exciting part.
Yeah, and actually, so like if I well understand, Catalyst is also so we develop things for itself, but it's also a playground for all the things in the governance, or like how it's going to work and how you can like make things work together. And as you said, I think it's interesting. I think you tell me if I'm wrong or not, but like you said, like the ultimate goal it's to reach a total decentralization of this as well. As you said, like when everything's going to be mature enough and stuff, it's going to be like really in the hands of the community, and that's it, kind of like a bit the easy way.
Right.
But the idea is to go to this.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's like you can the speed of human collaboration, of human thought, of human creativity is right now. Maybe in the future with AI or something it will be different, but right now it outpaces by a lot the technology. Okay, so like like a good example is like, let's say Bitcoin and its transaction fees or the limitations of the system. If you try to use governance and you say, I'm only using like something that's perfectly decentralized, but every time you want to vote, it will cost you like many dollars, and and it's like, and you're gonna mine and burn, and destroy forests, and like only to get that to happen, you're missing out on the real potential. So the decentralized technology will eventually catch up, okay? But we're not going to limit ourselves to the technology. We're gonna go for as far as we as humans can go, okay? And let the technology catch up to us, not the other way around.
Okay, I think it's clear. Like you covered a lot of things. I know that you are really like you have a lot of work, so I'm not gonna keep you
Yeah,
like.
I got carried. Yeah, totally. I get.
So
I need to go back to work. Because I was just like enjoy the conversation. I really got into it. So time kind of
fly, but it's cool. And perhaps like we can catch up like later on some specific things and discuss with you if we have some feedbacks from the community as well, if they want to know something specific. Thank you very much. I don't know if you want to have like a last sentence or something to conclude, but
come join a Discale, come join the town halls, just join us, take the first leap. It looks scary, but the weather is nice.
it's a good one. Actually, I'm gonna drop all the things so people can just access directly, like in the description. Thank you very much. It was really cool to discuss with you, and you are like smiling all the time, so it's really cool as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
and yeah, let's talk to each other soon.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.